All right, we're just heading out, going for a little bit of a spin. We're gonna let you know how training's been going, what we've changed, and how things look moving forward. So, made a lot of changes over the last 6 months. I think things are going pretty well, but we'll talk about those a little later on. Right now, let's ride. As I was saying, it's good to get out early, beat the heat. I don't know if you can see it, but a little bit of haze over the sun. All right, not too hot yet. Got a nice little breeze. Not a lot of smoke in the air. We've had some forest fires, so it's been tricky to get out. But seems like not a bad day. Hopefully it remains this way until we get back, and then it should all be good. Now, in terms of weight loss, you guys might recall that I lost a whole bunch of weight and I was continuing to lose weight. I have stabilized that now, mainly because about 6 months ago, I really started hitting the weights and doing weight training to facilitate my cycling as well. So we've been doing that for, like I said, about 6 months, and we've changed our diet a fair bit. We have increased our protein intake to deal with the amount of work that we're doing and to help facilitate muscle growth, as well as, you know, just kind of keep what we have. So it has stabilized my weight. I imagine if I start cutting out the protein and going back to the way my diet was before, it would change a little bit and we might lose a little bit of muscle mass. But I think we're remaining relatively consistent, even though we're burning a whole bunch more calories. We are consuming that much more protein, so we've just kind of stabilized for a while. Now, what that means is, visually, I think my shape has changed a little bit in terms of definition. You can definitely see that there are some muscles on my arms which weren't there before. But at the end of the day, I think what we found is, especially with the power, is that my top end power has gotten a little longer. It hasn't gotten extremely higher, but I can hold it for much, much longer. So my 966 odd watt sprint, I can hold that for much longer. And what people have noticed as well is that my punch, when I decide to go, has increased vastly. People have noticed that right off the hop. So when we hit small little bumps and you have to lay down a bit of power, people will see that, or when it's time to attack, people will see that as well. Now, my endurance has remained pretty much the same. We are on Trainer Road, we are doing that, so hopefully we will see some gains, but that's what we've seen so far. So we're gonna get back on the bike here, continue our ride, and we'll maybe talk a little bit more in a bit. As I mentioned, my weight has stabilized, mainly because of the change in diet, even though I have increased the workload. As we move later into the season, I'm probably going to look at cutting just a little bit more weight. I want to be a little bit lighter. I don't want to do it through the majority of the summer. Reason being is that early on in my first couple of months of this kind of training, I didn't quite have my diet dialed down, and there were a couple times that I really felt it on the bike, and very, very close to full bonk, which is never a good thing. And being outside in the middle of nowhere, it's not a good experience. So when I start experimenting with that again, I want to be back on the trainer. That way, if we are mismanaging sort of what we're taking in, that we are somewhere where we can just stop. It's not going to be a long hike home. And the other part of it is essentially there is a ton of fuel kicking around, so you can ultimately just go grab something to eat and continue on your way. But we'll sort that out later on in the season. So I'm curious what you guys are doing, if you're doing any weight training at all, and how that's working out for you in relation to your cycling training. If you're doing weight training, let me know down below specifically what you're doing. I would be really curious to see what everybody's training regimen is when it comes to weights. How many times you're doing it a week, what kind of muscle groups you're working, what your focus is, and sort of how you go about it and how you work it into your training routine. If you'd like me to share mine in another video, by all means drop a comment down below as well. But we're going to finish off this ride, and until next time, see ya.